The alarm system started beeping on the bridge of the battlecruiser Indomitable. Captain Hyun-sik looked up from his morning coffee and walked to the main screen. His ship was floating quietly in deep space, far from Earth. They were supposed to be on a routine patrol mission. Nothing exciting ever happened out here. "What is it?" Hyun-sik asked. Commander Ji-woo, a young woman with sharp eyes, turned her chair around. She had been working at the communication station for the past hour. "Sir, we are getting a distress signal. It is coming from the Velen mining colony on Thresh 7. Hyun-sik nodded and walked closer. The Velen were a peaceful alien race. They looked like tall, thin creatures, with blue skin and large eyes. Humans had met them 5 years ago when Earth joined the Galactic Council. The Velen were always kind and helpful. They sold minerals and rare metals to other species across the galaxy. "What does the message say?" Hyun-sik asked. Ji-woo pressed some buttons and the message played through the speakers. A scared voice spoke in the common galactic language. "This is Administrator Velthor of Thresh 7 Colony. We are under attack. The Krell marauders are destroying our station. We have no weapons. We have no defense. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. They are killing us." The bridge went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. The Krell were known across the galaxy as brutal pirates. They attacked weak colonies and stole everything valuable. They killed anyone who got in their way. Most species were afraid of them. First Officer Haejin stepped forward. She was older than Ji-woo and always followed the rules. "Sir, we should report this to command. This is not our problem. The Velen should ask the Galactic Council for help." Hyun-sik looked at her. "How far away is Thresh 7? Ji-woo checked her screen. "About 6 hours at maximum jump speed." "Contact Admiral Taemin," Hyun-sik said. "We need orders." Within 10 minutes, the face of Admiral Taemin appeared on the main screen. He was an old man, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had fought in many battles before humans joined the galaxy. Some people called him the Old Tiger because he was fierce and smart. "Captain Hyun-sik," the Admiral said, "I have heard the distress call. I have also checked with the Galactic Council. 12 different species have received the same message. All of them said no. They will not help the Velen. Why not?" Hyun-sik asked. Though he already knew the answer. The Krell have 47 warships at Thresh 7. The Council species say it is too dangerous. They say the Velen should have built defenses. They say it is not worth the risk. The Admiral paused. His face looked hard and angry. "I say they are cowards." Haejin stepped closer to the screen. "Admiral, with respect, we only have 8 human ships in this sector. 8 against 47 is suicide." Admiral Taemin smiled, but it was not a happy smile. 8 human ships, Officer Haejin, not 8 Galactic Council ships. There is a difference. He looked directly at Hyun-sik. "Captain, I am ordering you to respond to that distress call. Gather all human vessels in your sector. Save those people." Hyun-sik stood straight. "Yes, sir. We will not let them down." The Admiral's face softened just a little. "Go show the galaxy what humans can do." The screen went dark. Haejin turned to Hyun-sik. Her face showed worry. Hyun-sik walked to the center of the bridge. He looked at his crew. They were all young, all brave, all willing to follow his orders. "Ji-woo, contact all human ships in the sector. Tell them to meet us at jump point 7. We leave in 30 minutes. "Yes, sir," Ji-woo said, and started working. Hyun-sik turned to Haejin. "I understand your concern. You are right to question this. But let me ask you something. When you joined Earth Fleet, what did you promise?" Haejin thought for a moment. "To protect the innocent. To stand against evil. To never abandon those in need." "Exactly," Hyun-sik said. "The Velen are innocent. The Krell are evil. The Velen need us. Every other species in the galaxy has abandoned them. If we do the same, What does that make us? Heijin closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them again, she looked stronger. You are right, Captain. I will prepare the crew for battle. Over the next 30 minutes, 7 more human ships arrived at the jump point. They were all different sizes and types. Some were battle cruisers, like the Indomitable. Some were smaller destroyers. One was a heavy carrier that launched fighter ships. Together, they made up the 7th Human Expeditionary Fleet. Hyunsik spoke to all the captains through video link. He explained the situation. He told them about the Velen and the Krell. He gave them one chance to leave if they wanted to. No one left. Every captain said the same thing. They would fight. Jiwoo checked her instruments one more time. Captain, all ships are ready. Jump drives are charged. We can leave when you give the word. Hyunsik sat in his command chair. He thought about Earth, so far away. He thought about his family. He thought about the Velen people who were dying right now. While the galaxy did nothing, he thought about what it meant to be human. All ships, he said into the communication system. This is Captain Hyunsik. Today we go into battle against an enemy that outnumbers us. The galaxy thinks we will lose. The galaxy thinks we are fools. But the galaxy has forgotten something important. We are humans. We come from Earth. We do not know how to quit. We do not know how to abandon the weak. We fight until we win, or until we die. There is no other way. He paused and looked around his bridge. Every face showed determination. Today, we show the galaxy what it means to call for help from Earth Fleet. Today, we show them why they call us Deathworlders. All ships jump to hyperspace. We have people to save. The 8 human ships disappeared in flashes of blue light. Behind them, space was quiet and empty. Ahead of them, a battle waited that would change the galaxy forever. On the mining colony of Thresh 7, Administrator Vel Thor watched his people die. He had sent the distress call hours ago. No one had answered. No one was coming. He held a young Velen child who was crying and scared. Around them, the Krell ships fired their weapons at the colony. Buildings exploded. People screamed. Vel Thor closed his eyes. He prayed to his gods for a miracle. He prayed for someone, anyone, to care enough to help them. Then, something strange happened. Every Krell ship suddenly stopped firing. Their sensors had detected something. 8 large ships had just appeared in the system. Ships with designs the Krell had never seen before. Ships that radiated power and danger. The humans had arrived. Warlord Krexnar stood on the bridge of his command ship. He was tall and covered in thick scales. His species, the Krell, were known as the most feared pirates in the galaxy. They had been raiding colonies for hundreds of years. No one could stop them. When his sensor officer told him about the 8 new ships, Krexnar laughed. It was a deep, cruel sound. 8 ships, he said. We have 47. Who is stupid enough to challenge us with only 8 ships? The sensor officer checked his screen. His face showed confusion. Sir, these ships are strange. The energy readings are very high. I have never seen designs like these before. What species are they? Krexnar asked. The computer says they are human ships, sir, from the planet Earth. Krexnar thought for a moment. He had heard of humans. They were new to the galaxy. They had only joined the Galactic Council about 20 years ago. Most species thought humans were weak because they came from such a dangerous planet. Krexnar had never fought humans before. Send them a message, Krexnar said. Tell them to leave or die. These Velen belong to us now. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Jiwoo received the Krell message. She played it for Captain Hyunsik. The voice was harsh and full of threats. It told the humans to run away or be destroyed. Hyunsik smiled. It was not a nice smile. Send a reply. Tell them this. Leave now, or we will make you leave. This is your only warning. Jiwoo sent the message. She knew the Krell would not listen. Pirates never listened. They only understood force. Krexnar received the human message. He laughed again. They dare to threaten me? Destroy them. Kill them all. The Krell fleet turned toward the human ships. 47 warships moved into attack formation. Their weapons powered up. Plasma cannons glowed bright red. Ion torpedoes loaded into tubes. The Krell had destroyed hundreds of ships with these weapons. They would destroy 8 more today. The Krell opened fire. Bright beams of plasma energy shot across space toward the human fleet. Torpedoes flew like angry insects. The distance between the two fleets was huge, but the weapons were powerful. On the Indomitable, the tactical officer called out, "Enemy fire. Incoming. Impact in 10 seconds." Heejin watched the main screen. She had never been in a real battle before. Her hands shook a little. "Shields at maximum," she ordered. The Krell weapons hit the human shields. The bridge lights flickered for a second. Then, everything was normal again. The shields held easily. In fact, they barely dropped at all. Hyun-sik watched the shield display. They were at 98% strength. The Krell weapons had done almost nothing. "Well," he said calmly, "that was disappointing. Jiwoo, show them what real weapons look like." Jiwoo pressed several buttons on her control panel. "All ships, weapons free. Target their forward ships. Fire on my mark." She watched the targeting computer. The Krell were coming closer. Thinking they had the advantage. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The human fleet fired. But they did not use energy weapons like plasma or ion beams. Humans used something different. Something the galaxy had forgotten about long ago. They used railguns. Railguns were simple but deadly. They used magnetic force to launch solid metal at incredible speed. The Indomitable's main railgun fired a tungsten slug. The slug was only 2 meters long, but it was moving at thousands of kilometers per second. It had no engine, no guidance system. It was just metal, moving very, very fast. The slug hit the first Krell ship in the center. The Krell shields tried to stop it, but kinetic energy was different from plasma energy. The shields failed instantly. The slug punched through the ship's armor like it was paper. It went in one side and out the other. Everything in its path was destroyed. The Krell ship exploded in a ball of fire. All 8 human ships fired at once. 24 railgun slugs shot across space. Each one hit a Krell ship. Some ships exploded completely. Others were torn in half. A few were just crippled, floating dead in space. In 5 seconds, the Krell had lost 9 ships. 3 more were too damaged to fight. On his command ship, Krexnar stared at his screen in shock. What? What kind of weapons are those? His tactical officer was shaking. "They are using kinetic projectiles, sir. Solid mass traveling at extreme velocity. Our shields cannot stop them. They are designed for energy weapons only." Krexnar felt something he had not felt in many years. He felt afraid. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Spread out. Do not stay in formation." But the Krell ships were big and slow. They were built for attacking weak colonies, not fighting real warships. The human ships were different. They moved like hunters. They moved like predators. Hyun-sik stood up from his chair. "All ships, execute typhoon formation. Show them how Earth fights." The human fleet split apart. Each ship moved independently, spinning and turning in 3 dimensions. They used thrusters in ways that seemed impossible. They rotated on all 3 axes at once. It was beautiful and terrifying. Jiwoo had trained for this her whole life. She had studied every space battle in human history. She had learned from ancient naval tactics on Earth's oceans. Now she was putting it all to use. Target the engines, disable their ability to run, box them in. The human ships moved around the Krell fleet like wolves around sheep. They fired again and again. Each shot was perfect. Each shot destroyed or crippled another Krell ship. The Krell tried to return fire, but the humans were too fast. They dodged and weaved. Their shields absorbed any hits that came close. Down on the Velen colony, Administrator Velthor watched through his damaged windows. He could see the flashes of light in space. He could see the Krell ships exploding one by one. The young child he was holding looked up at him. "Are they winning?" the child asked. "Yes," Velthor said quietly. "The humans are winning." On the Indomitable, Marine Commander Sung Ho was preparing his troops. He was a big man with a scarred face. He had fought in many battles on Earth before joining the space fleet. "Listen up," he shouted to his Marines. "Some of those Krell ships are still intact. We might need to board them. Check your weapons. Check your armor. Stay sharp." The Marines checked their rifles. These weapons used chemical explosives to fire metal bullets. Most alien species thought such weapons were primitive. They preferred energy weapons. But human bullets were cheap, simple, and deadly. They worked in any environment. They never ran out of battery power. Engineer Bo Ra was working in the engine room. She was monitoring the ship's reactor. The display showed they were running at 130% of normal power. This was supposed to be dangerous. But Bo Ra knew that human engineers always built safety margins. She could push the ship harder if needed. After 15 minutes of battle, 23 Krell ships were destroyed. 8 more were crippled and drifting. The remaining 16 ships tried to run away. Krexnar screamed orders at his crew. "Full power to engines! We need to escape!" Jump to hyperspace. But his ships were too damaged. Their jump drives would not activate. They needed time to charge, time they did not have. Hyunsik spoke into the communication system. His voice was calm and cold. "Attention Krell ships. Power down your weapons. Surrender now. If you do not, we will destroy you all." Krexnar was filled with rage and humiliation. He had never surrendered before. But he was not stupid. He had lost. His fleet was broken. If he kept fighting, everyone would die. Slowly, the Krell ships powered down their weapons. They stopped trying to run. They just floated in space. Defeated, Haejin looked at Hyunsik with amazement. "Sir, we won. We actually won," Hyunsik nodded. "Contact the Velen colony. Tell them they are safe now. Tell them we are sending medical teams and supplies." RK, Jiwoo opened a channel to the colony. "Administrator Velthor, this is Captain Hyun-Sik of Earth Fleet. The Krell have been defeated. We are coming down to help you. Please do not be afraid. We are here to protect you." On the colony, Velthor heard these words. He started crying. The child he was holding also cried. But these were tears of relief and joy. Around them, other Velen were cheering. They had been saved. Someone had actually come to save them. But even as they celebrated, Velthor felt a strange fear. He had watched the battle. He had seen the humans destroy the Krell fleet in minutes. These humans were so violent, so powerful. Yes, they had saved the Velen. But what kind of beings could fight like that? What kind of planet created such warriors? He thought about the stories he had heard. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world. It was one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. Now he understood why humans were so good at fighting. They came from a world where everything tried to kill them. They had learned to be strong just to survive. The Velen were safe. But the galaxy would never be the same. The humans had shown what they could do. They had shown their true nature. They were the Deathworlders. And they had arrived. 2 days after the battle, the Velen colony was slowly recovering. Human ships landed near the damaged buildings. Marines in armor set up security around the area. Medical teams rushed to help the wounded Velen. Dr. Yoonji walked through the makeshift hospital with her medical bag. She was a human doctor, trained on Earth. They had never seen a human doctor work before. A Velen nurse named Nari approached her. Nari had studied medicine for many years on her home world. She was good at her job, but today she felt lost. Dr. Yoonji, we have a critical patient. Her injuries are severe. I do not think we can save her. Unji followed Nari to a bed where a young Velen woman lay. She had broken bones and deep cuts. Blood was everywhere. The Velen doctors stood around, looking sad and helpless. Yoonji examined the patient quickly. She moved fast and did not seem bothered by the blood. This is not that bad, she said. I need bone repair gel, synthetic tissue, and a blood transfusion kit. Move fast. Nari was shocked. Not that bad? She has 3 broken ribs and massive blood loss. Unji started treating the wounds. Her hands moved with confidence. On Earth, these would be moderate injuries. I have treated much worse. Trust me, she will live. For the next hour, Yoonji worked on the patient. The Velen doctors watched in amazement. This human doctor handled injuries that would make any Velen faint. She saw terrible wounds and just kept working calmly. When she was done, the patient was stable and breathing normally. Nari looked at Yoonji with new respect, but also fear. How can you handle such terrible things without feeling sick? Yoonji washed her hands and smiled. Where I come from, this is normal. On Earth, people get hurt all the time. We have dangerous animals, extreme weather, and 100 other things that can kill us. Every human doctor learns to work under pressure. We learn to see terrible injuries and keep going. It is part of living on a death world. Nari had heard about Earth. Everyone in the galaxy had heard about the human home world. But hearing about it and seeing the results were different things. What is it like? Your planet? Yoonji sat down for a moment. She was tired, but wanted to help Nari understand. Earth has gravity stronger than most worlds. Our air has more oxygen, which would be toxic to many species. We have storms that can destroy entire cities. Earthquakes that crack the ground open. Volcanoes that burn everything. And the life on Earth is just as dangerous. We have animals that hunt us. Plants that poison us. Insects that can kill with one bite. Everything on Earth is trying to survive. And everything is dangerous. Because of it. How did your species survive? Nari asked. We adapted. We got strong. We got smart. We learned to work together. Humans are not the biggest, or fastest, or strongest species on Earth. But we are the best at cooperating and using tools. We survived 6 mass extinction events. We survived ice ages, and plagues, and wars. We survived because we never gave up. Nari was quiet for a long time. Then she said, That is why you fight so well. Your world trained you for war. Yes and no. Yoonji replied. Our world trained us to survive. War is just one part of survival. But we also learned compassion. When a human is hurt, other humans help. When a human is in danger, other humans protect them. We fight hard, but we also care deeply. That is what makes us human. Outside the hospital, Marine Commander Sung Ho was walking through the colony with a young Velen named Pelton. Pelton was curious about the humans. He had watched them destroy the Krell fleet. Now he wanted to understand them better. Why did you come? Pelton asked. You did not have to help us. Sung Ho looked at the young alien. We came because you needed help. That is enough reason. But you risked your lives. You could have died. My people are not your people. Why would you die for strangers? Sung Ho thought about how to explain. On Earth, there is an old saying. It goes like this. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. The Krell were evil. You needed help. They walked past some human Marines who were helping rebuild a damaged building. The Marines were laughing and joking while they worked. They seemed happy. Pelton pointed at them. "Your warriors seem so cheerful. They just fought a terrible battle. How can they laugh?" Sung-ho smiled. "Because we won. Because we saved people. That makes us happy. Humans enjoy challenges. We enjoy overcoming difficulties. It is part of our nature." Later that evening, Administrator Velthor met with Admiral Taemin in a conference room. The Admiral had arrived with supply ships to help the colony. He wanted to make sure the Velen had everything they needed. "Admiral, I do not know how to thank you," Velthor said. "You saved us when no one else would. The Galactic Council abandoned us. But you came." Taemin nodded slowly. "The Council has become weak. They care more about avoiding risk than helping others. This is what happens when species become too comfortable. They forget what it means to struggle." "Can I ask you something?" Velthor said carefully. "Your ships destroyed the Krell so easily. You killed them without mercy. Does this not bother you?" Taemin looked at him with sad eyes. "Of course it bothers us. Killing always bothers us. But let me ask you something. If we had not killed those Krell, how many more Velen would have died? How many colonies would they have destroyed? Sometimes, violence is necessary to stop greater violence. This is a hard truth. But you are so good at violence. It is frightening. Yes, we are good at it. Our world made us good at it. But understand this. We do not enjoy killing. We enjoy protecting. We enjoy saving lives. The killing is just a tool we use when we must. We would prefer never to fight at all." Velthor wanted to believe him. The humans had been kind and helpful since they arrived. They had shared their food and medicine. They had worked hard to repair the colony. They seemed like good people. But their capacity for destruction was terrifying. The next morning, First Officer He-jin was reviewing reports when Ji-woo rushed onto the bridge. Her face was pale with worry. "Commander, we have a problem," Ji-woo said. Long-range sensors detected a massive energy signature. "It is coming from Krell space." He-jin stood up quickly. "Show me." "Show me." Ji-woo pulled up the sensor data on the main screen. There were so many contacts that the screen was almost full. Over 200 ships. They are all heading this way. He-jin felt her heart sink. They called for reinforcements. "We destroyed one fleet, so they are sending a much bigger one." Captain Hyun-sik entered the bridge. He had been resting after the battle. He looked at the screen and immediately understood. "How long until they arrive?" 12 hours, Ji-woo said quietly. Hyun-sik sat in his command chair and thought hard. The human fleet had lost one ship in the last battle. Another was badly damaged and could not fight. That left only 6 operational warships. 6 against 200 was impossible. He-jin approached him. "Sir, we need to evacuate. We need to get the Velen to safety and run. We cannot win this fight." "How long would evacuation take?" Hyun-sik asked. "At least 15 hours. We do not have enough transport ships, so we cannot run even if we wanted to." Hyun-sik looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. "Then we fight." "Sir, that is suicide," He-jin said. "We will all die." Hyun-sik stood up. "Maybe, but if we run, the Velen will definitely die. All of them. We cannot let that happen." He walked to the tactical station, where Ji-woo was working. "What are our advantages?" Ji-woo pulled up a star map. "The asteroid field near Thresh 7. It is dense and covers a large area. Our ships are smaller and more maneuverable than Krell ships. We could use the asteroids as cover. Like submarine warfare," He-jin said, understanding now. "Hide, strike, and disappear." "Exactly," Ji-woo said. "We cannot fight them directly, but we can use guerrilla tactics. Hit and run. Make them afraid to chase us." Hyun-sik studied the map. It was risky. It was dangerous. They might all die. But it was a chance. What are our odds? Ji-woo ran some calculations. About 23% chance of success. Hyun-sik smiled grimly. Better than zero. Alert all ships. We have 12 hours to prepare. We are going to mine that asteroid field and turn it into a death trap. If the Krell want to fight us, they will have to come into our territory. And we will show them what happens when you hunt humans in the dark. The crew started working immediately. Every human moved with purpose. They knew they might die tomorrow. But they also knew they were fighting for something important. They were fighting to protect innocent lives. Down on the colony, Velthor received the news. Another Krell fleet was coming. This time, it was huge. He asked the humans if they were going to leave. The answer surprised him. No, Captain Hyun-sik told him. We are staying. We will fight them again. But you will die, Velthor said. Maybe. But you will live. That is what matters. Velthor looked at this human captain. He tried to understand what kind of being would choose to die for strangers. Then he realized something. This was what humans were. They were warriors from a world so hard that only the strong and brave could survive. But that same world had taught them to value life, to protect the weak, to stand against evil no matter the cost. The Deathworlders were not monsters. They were heroes. And tomorrow, they would prove it. The asteroid field near Thresh 7 was dark and quiet. Huge rocks floated in the emptiness of space. Some were as small as cars. Others were as big as mountains. Between the asteroids, the 6 remaining human ships waited in silence. Captain Hyun-sik stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. His crew had spent the last 12 hours preparing for battle. They had placed mines throughout the asteroid field. They had mapped every rock and every hiding place. They had calculated firing solutions for dozens of ambush points. Now, they waited. Status report. Hyun-sik said quietly. Ji-woo checked her displays. All ships are in position. Mines are armed and ready. The Krell fleet will arrive in 5 minutes. Haijin looked nervous but determined. After their conversation yesterday, she understood why they had to fight. But understanding and accepting were different things. She knew most of them would probably die today. Remember the plan? Hyun-sik said to his crew. We do not fight them head-on. We hit fast and disappear. We make them afraid. We make them chase us into traps. We use every advantage we have. Engineer Bo-ra called from the engine room. Captain, all systems are ready. I have the reactor running at maximum safe levels. I can push it higher if you need more power. Stand by, Bo-ra. We will need everything you can give us. Suddenly, space lit up with hundreds of bright flashes. The Krell fleet had arrived. 207 warships dropped out of hyperspace. They were led by Fleet Admiral Krax Thor, the supreme commander of all Krell forces. He had come personally to destroy these humans who had dared to humiliate his warriors. On his massive flagship, Krax Thor looked at the tactical display. Where are the human ships? He demanded. His sensor officer studied the screens. Sir, we are detecting some energy signatures in the asteroid field, but there is too much interference. The asteroids are blocking our sensors. Krax Thor laughed. So they are hiding like cowards. Send in the first wave. Flush them out. I want those humans found and destroyed. 50 Krell ships moved toward the asteroid field. They entered carefully, weapons ready. Their sensors swept back and forth, searching for the humans. The Krell ships moved deeper into the field. Everything seemed quiet. Too quiet. Then, the trap was sprung. The mines that the humans had planted started exploding. Huge blasts of energy tore through the Krell formation. 5 ships were destroyed instantly. 8 more were damaged. Ambush! A Krell captain screamed into the radio. The field is mined. Pull back! But before they could retreat, The human ships appeared from behind asteroids. They had been hiding in the radar shadows, waiting. All 6 ships fired at once. The railgun slugs hit the confused Krell ships. With no room to maneuver in the tight asteroid field, the Krell were easy targets. 9 more ships exploded. The survivors tried to return fire, but the humans were already moving. They disappeared behind asteroids before the Krell weapons could lock on. Jiwoo coordinated the attack perfectly. Delta formation. Move to ambush point 7. Fast. G. The human ships flew through the asteroid field like birds through a forest. They knew every path because they had mapped it. The Krell ships were bigger and slower. They crashed into asteroids. They lost track of their targets. They fired blindly and hit nothing but rocks. Marine Commander Sung Ho was strapped into his seat in the Marine Bay. He and his troops were waiting for boarding operations. Every time the ship turned sharply, they felt the gravity shift. It was uncomfortable, but humans were used to high-gravity maneuvers. They had trained on Earth, where gravity was naturally strong. "Hold on," Sung Ho yelled, as the Indomitable spun around an asteroid at high speed. The maneuver would have knocked out most alien species. But humans could handle it. Their bodies were built to survive harsh conditions. From his flagship outside the asteroid field, Krax Thor watched in rage as his first wave was destroyed. How are they doing this? How can 6 ships defeat 50? His tactical officer was sweating. "Sir, they are using the environment against us. Our ships are too large for that asteroid field. We keep hitting rocks. They are faster and smaller. They know where they are going. We do not. Then we will not go in," Krax Thor said. "We will bombard the field from outside. Destroy every asteroid. Eventually we will destroy them too." The Krell fleet began firing into the asteroid field from a distance. Huge plasma beams and missiles shot into the rock formations. Asteroids exploded into clouds of debris. It was massive firepower. But the human ships kept moving. They stayed behind the largest asteroids. They used the debris clouds as cover. They waited for the Krell to waste their ammunition. Hyunsik watched the bombardment on his screen. "They are trying to force us out. Jiwoo, how long can we stay in here?" "As long as we need to, sir. The field is huge. They would need days to destroy all of it." "Good. Then we wait. Let them waste energy and ammunition. When they get frustrated, they will make mistakes." After 2 hours of bombardment, Krax Thor was getting angry. His fleet had fired thousands of shots, but had not hit a single human ship. His warriors were getting tired. Some ships were running low on ammunition. "This is taking too long." Krax Thor growled. "Send in 100 ships. Surround the field. Trap them inside. Then we move in slowly and carefully." The Krell fleet moved into position. They surrounded the asteroid field from all sides. There was no escape now. Slowly, they began moving inward, weapons ready. Hyunsik saw the Krell formation on his sensors. "They are boxing us in." "Heejin, what do you think?" Hyjin studied the tactical map. "They are spreading out too much. Their fleet is divided. If we concentrate our attack on one section, we can break through." "No," Jiwoo said suddenly. "If we try to break through, they will pursue us into open space. Out there, their numbers will overwhelm us. We need to stay in the field and keep fighting." Hyunsik nodded. "Agreed. But we need to hurt them badly. We need to make them afraid." He thought for a moment. Then he made a decision that shocked everyone. "All ships, prepare for close combat. We are going to board their vessels." Sung Ho smiled when he heard the order. "Finally! Marines, gear up! We are going hunting." The human ships suddenly accelerated out of the asteroid field. But instead of running away, they flew directly toward the Krell fleet. The Krell commanders were confused. Were the humans surrendering? Were they attacking? The Indomitable flew straight at a large Krell cruiser. At the last second, it fired grappling hooks. The hooks attached to the Krell hull. Then the Indomitable used its thrusters to pull close. "Boarding tubes deployed," Sung-Ho reported. Armored Marines launched from the Indomitable and flew across the gap between ships. They hit the Krell hull and used cutting torches to burn through the armor. Within seconds, they were inside the enemy ship. The Krell crew had never experienced boarding actions before. Most species in the galaxy considered it too dangerous. But humans were used to danger. The Marines moved through the Krell ship with deadly efficiency. They used their firearms to eliminate resistance. They moved toward the bridge. On 5 other Krell ships, the same thing was happening. Human boarding parties were taking over enemy vessels from the inside. The Krell warriors tried to fight back, but they were not trained for close combat in tight corridors. The humans were experts at it. Kraxthor watched in disbelief as 6 of his ships went dark. "What are they doing? Are they inside our ships?" "Yes, sir. They are boarding us. They are taking our ships." "That is impossible. No one boards ships in space combat. It is too dangerous." But humans did not care about what was supposed to be impossible. They did what was necessary to win. After 30 minutes, Sung-Ho stood on the bridge of a captured Krell cruiser. His Marines had taken the ship with minimal casualties. "Captain Hyun-Sik, this is Sung-Ho. The ship is ours. What should we do with it?" Hyun-Sik smiled. "Can you fly it? Give me 5 minutes to figure out the controls." Soon, 6 captured Krell ships joined the human fleet. Now Kraxthor was facing 12 ships instead of 6, and his own vessels were being used against him. But the battle was not over. Kraxthor still had over 140 ships. He was losing, but he had enough forces to win through sheer numbers. Then he made a terrible decision. A decision born of rage and pride. "Forget the human ships," he ordered. "Target the Velen colony directly. If I cannot defeat these humans, I will at least kill everyone they came to protect." 50 Krell ships broke away from the main fleet. They flew toward the undefended colony. Thousands of Velen were there, including children and elderly. They had no weapons, no shields. They would all die. Hyun-Sik saw what was happening. He had to make a choice. He could stay in the asteroid field, where his ships were safe, or he could try to protect the colony and risk everything. There was no choice. Not really. Humans did not abandon people in need. All ships, emergency speed. "We have to intercept them before they reach the colony." Heijin grabbed his arm. "Sir, if we leave the asteroid field, we will be exposed." "I know, but we have to try." The 6 human ships and 6 captured Krell ships flew out of the asteroid field at maximum speed. They positioned themselves between the Krell attack force and the colony. 1 ship against 50. It should have been impossible. But the Indomitable was crewed by humans, and humans had survived impossible odds before. "All weapons, continuous fire," Hyun-Sik ordered. "Do not let a single ship through." The Indomitable became a fortress of destruction. Every weapon fired at once. Railguns, missiles, lasers, everything. The ship shook from the recoil. Alarms blared everywhere, but they kept firing. Bo-Ra pushed the reactor far beyond safe limits. "Captain, we are at 160% power. The reactor could explode." "Keep it running. We need more power." The Indomitable destroyed 12 Krell ships, then 15. Then 20. But they were taking heavy damage in return. Hull breaches on every deck. Fires everywhere. Systems failing. Heijin called out damage reports. "Shields at 15%. Hull armor failing. We have casualties on all decks." But they kept fighting. Every human on that ship knew they might die. But they also knew they were saving thousands of innocent lives. That made it worth it. Then, just when it seemed they would be overwhelmed, the rest of the human fleet arrived. The other 5 ships attacked the Krell from behind. Between both groups, they destroyed or disabled all 50 attacking ships. But the cost was terrible. The Indomitable was barely functional. It was venting atmosphere. The reactor was on the edge of meltdown. Half the crew was injured, and the main Krell fleet was still coming. The Indomitable floated in space, broken and dying. Captain Hyun-sik could see stars through the cracks in his bridge windows. Half his crew was dead or wounded. The ship's reactor was failing. They had minutes before total power loss. "Damage report," he said quietly. His voice was calm even though he knew they were finished. Hee-jin looked at her cracked display screen. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. Main engines offline. Weapons at 20%. Life support failing on decks 3 through 7. We have 96 confirmed casualties. The ship is lost, sir. Through the windows, they could see the remaining Krell fleet approaching. Over 100 ships, all with weapons charged. It was over. Ji-woo turned to Hyun-sik. "Sir, the other human ships are requesting orders. They want to know if they should evacuate us or keep fighting." Hyun-sik thought about his crew, about the people who had followed him into this impossible battle, about the Velen colonists below who were counting on them. He thought about Earth, so far away. He thought about what it meant to be human. "Tell them to evacuate the colony," Hyun-sik said. "Get as many Velen to safety as possible. We will hold the Krell here for as long as we can." "Sir, that is a suicide mission," Hee-jin said softly. "I know. But it will buy the others time. Sometimes, that is all we can do." Before anyone could respond, Bora's voice came through the communication system. She sounded tired, but determined. "Captain, I have an idea. It is crazy, but it might work. Tell me, the reactor is going to explode anyway. We cannot stop it. But I can control when it explodes. If we point the ship at the Krell fleet and ram their flagship at full speed, the reactor explosion will take out dozens of their ships." The bridge was silent. Everyone understood what Bora was suggesting. They would deliberately crash into the enemy. A suicide attack. One ship sacrificed to destroy many. "How long do we have?" Hyun-sik asked. 3 minutes until I lose control of the reactor. After that, it will explode on its own. End quote. Hyun-sik looked at his crew. "This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants to evacuate should go now. I will not order you to stay." No one moved. Not a single person left their station. Hee-jin smiled through her tears. "We are with you, Captain. Until the end." Hyun-sik felt pride and sadness at the same time. "Bora, give us everything the ship has left. One last run. Make it count." The Indomitable's damaged engines roared to life. The ship turned toward the Krell flagship, where Fleet Admiral Krax Thor commanded. It began accelerating. Slowly at first, then faster. On the Krell flagship, the sensor officer suddenly panicked. "Sir, the human ship is heading straight for us." "They are accelerating." Krax Thor stared at his screen. "They are damaged. What are they doing?" I think they are going to ram us, sir." Krax Thor laughed. But it was a nervous sound. "That is insane. They will die." Adiver sent. "They will die. They will die. They will die." "Sir, I am detecting a reactor overload on their ship. If they hit us, the explosion will destroy half our fleet." For the first time, Krax Thor felt true fear. These humans were willing to die just to hurt him. What kind of species did that? "All ships, concentrate fire on that vessel. Destroy it before it reaches us." The Krell fleet fired everything at the Indomitable. Energy beams, missiles, plasma cannons. The human ship took hit after hit. Pieces of armor flew off. Entire sections exploded. But it kept coming. On the bridge, alarms screamed. The walls were on fire. The floor was shaking apart. But the crew stayed at their stations. 30 seconds to impact," Ji-woo called out. "It has been an honor serving with you all," Hyun-sik said. Then something impossible happened. Space around the Indomitable filled with bright flashes. Dozens of ships dropped out of hyperspace. Human ships. An entire fleet had arrived. Admiral Taemin's voice came through the radio. Indomitable. This is Admiral Taemin with the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th human fleets. We received your distress call. Sorry we are late. Tears ran down Hyun-sik's face. Admiral. Good to hear your voice. Pull back, Captain. We will take it from here. You have done enough. The Indomitable changed course at the last second. It limped away from the Krell fleet. Behind it, over 60 human warships moved into attack formation. The Krell fleet suddenly faced a new threat. They were no longer fighting 6 damaged ships. They were fighting an armada. Admiral Taemin sent a message to Krax Thor. Fleet Admiral, you have one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you refuse, we will destroy you. Krax Thor was furious. I will never surrender to humans. All ships, attack. The Krell fleet charged. But they were tired, damaged, and facing fresh human ships with full weapons and shields. The battle lasted only 20 minutes. The Krell were crushed. Krax Thor watched his fleet die around him. His flagship was surrounded by human ships. He reached for the self-destruct button. He would take these humans with him. But before he could press it, the walls exploded inward. Marine Commander Sung-ho and his troops burst onto the bridge. They moved with deadly speed. Within seconds, all Krell warriors were disarmed or dead. Sung-ho pointed his rifle at Krax Thor. You are under arrest for piracy, murder, and war crimes. Move, and I will shoot you. Krax Thor looked at this human warrior. He saw no mercy in those eyes, only justice. Slowly, he raised his hands in surrender. 3 weeks later, Captain Hyun-sik stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. His arm was in a sling. His face still had cuts and bruises, but he stood straight and proud. The council chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of species. They had all come to discuss the human question. On the large screens, footage of the Battle of Thresh 7 played over and over. 6 human ships defeating 200 Krell vessels. Human marines boarding enemy ships. Human doctors treating terrible wounds without fear. Counselor Zelvath of the Primacy spoke first. He was an old alien with silver skin and cold eyes. The humans have violated 17 codes of civilized warfare. They used excessive force. They boarded ships in combat. They showed no mercy to their enemies. I move that humanity be expelled from the council and restricted to their home system. Many council members nodded in agreement. They were afraid of human military power. They wanted to contain it. Then Administrator Velthor stood up. Behind him were dozens of other Velen, all survivors of the attack. May I speak? He asked. You may, the council leader said. Velthor walked to the center of the chamber. His voice was clear and strong. 3 weeks ago, my people sent a distress call. We were being slaughtered by Krell pirates. We called for help from this council. 12 species received our call. 12 species said no. They said it was too dangerous. They said we should have defended ourselves better. They said it was not their problem. He paused and looked around at all the council members. Only one species answered our call. Only one species was willing to risk everything to save strangers. The humans came with 8 ships to fight 47. They won that battle. Then, when 200 more Krell ships arrived, the humans did not run. They stayed and fought again. They fought knowing they would probably die. Why? Because they made a promise to protect us. Velthor pointed at the screen showing the damaged Indomitable. That ship was going to ram the Krell fleet. The crew was going to sacrifice themselves to buy time for my people to escape. That is not excessive force. That is not violence for pleasure. That is courage. That is honor. That is everything this council has forgotten. The chamber was completely silent. Many council members looked ashamed. Admiral Taemin was called to speak next. He walked slowly to the center. His old eyes looked tired but fierce. Counselor Zelvath says we used excessive force. I say we used the force necessary to win. You want to judge us for our violence? Fine. But understand this. We do not seek violence. We seek peace. But when peace is impossible, we seek victory. When victory requires sacrifice, we sacrifice. This is what it means to come from a death world. He turned to address all the council members. Earth is not like your worlds. Your planets are gentle and safe. Your species evolved in comfort. We evolved in hell. Everything on Earth wants to kill us. The weather, the animals, the plants, even the air is dangerous compared to most worlds. We survived, not because we are the strongest, but because we never quit. Because we work together. Because we fight for each other. Taemin's voice got louder. You call us Deathworlders like it is an insult. We call it a badge of honor. Yes, we are dangerous. Yes, we are violent when necessary. But we are also loyal, compassionate, and brave. We fight for others. We protect the weak. We stand against evil. Can any of you say the same? The council leader stood up. His name was Zenthar, and he had led the council for many years. Admiral Taemin, the council is afraid of your species. We are afraid of what you might do with your military power. How can we trust you? Taemin looked at him steadily. You cannot trust us more than we have already proven. We came when called. We fought when others ran. We bled to save people who were not our own. What more do you want from us? We want assurances that you will not conquer other species. Then write it into law. Make rules. Set boundaries. We will follow them. But do not punish us for being good at survival. Do not hate us because your people have forgotten how to fight for what is right. The council debated for hours. Finally, they voted. Humanity would remain in the council. They would face some restrictions on military expansion, but they would not be expelled. More importantly, something had changed. 3 smaller species who had been bullied by pirates for years approached Earth with a request. They wanted protection. They wanted to learn from humans. They wanted to be strong like the Deathworlders. Admiral Taemin agreed to help them. Soon, human instructors were teaching alien species how to defend themselves, how to build better weapons, how to fight with courage and intelligence. The galaxy was changing. The age of comfortable peace was ending. A new age was beginning. An age where the weak could become strong, where courage mattered more than ancient authority, where Deathworlders were not feared but respected. Back on Earth, in a small garden in Seoul, Dr. Eunji placed flowers at a memorial. It listed the names of all the humans who died at Thresh 7. 147 names. 147 heroes. A young girl approached her. The girl had been studying the memorial. Why did they die? The girl asked. Eunji knelt down beside her. They died protecting people they had never met. People from another world. People who needed help. That seems sad, the girl said. It is sad. Death is always sad, but it is also beautiful. They gave their lives so others could live. That is the most human thing someone can do. What does it mean to be human? The girl asked. Eunji thought carefully about her answer. She thought about Earth and how hard life was there. She thought about all the struggles humans had overcome. She thought about the crew of the Indomitable and their courage. To be human means to survive when survival seems impossible. To be human means to help others, even when it costs us everything. To be human means to come from a world that tried to kill us every day. And yet we learned not to hate, but to love. We learned not to destroy, but to protect. We are Deathworlders. Yes, but we are also the galaxy's best hope for a better future. The young girl nodded slowly. She looked at the names on the memorial again. When I grow up, I want to be like them. Eunji smiled. Then, Earth will be proud of you. Far away, on a Velen colony world, children played a new game. They pretended to be human space marines, brave and strong. They pretended to fight pirates and save people. When Velthor saw them playing, he smiled. The humans had given his people more than their lives. They had given them hope. In a prison cell, Fleet Admiral Kraxthor sat alone. He had been defeated, humiliated, and captured. But he was not sorry. He was angry. Angry at the humans. Angry at his own failure. He thought about what he would say at his trial. But sometimes, late at night, he thought about something else. He thought about the human captain, who had been willing to die to protect strangers. He thought about human warriors who fought impossible odds without fear. He thought about how humans never gave up, never surrendered, never stopped trying to do the right thing, and sometimes, very quietly, he wondered if the humans were not the monsters everyone feared. Maybe they were something else. Maybe they were what the galaxy needed. Maybe they were heroes. But he would never admit it out loud. Pride prevented that. The galaxy had learned an important lesson at Thresh 7. When you call for help and no one else answers, humans will come. They will fight for you. They will bleed for you. They will die for you if necessary. Because that is what Deathworlders do, and the galaxy would never be the same again.